Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Gardner, certified financial planner, author, and founder of FinLitTech. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us for season 3 of eMoney's podcast, That Makes Sense. Now, for those of you that joined us for season 1 and 2, you may see something a little different. So for season 3, for this podcast, we're going to be able to provide you an audio resource, but we're also going to be providing you video. And here's why. Season 3 is going to focus on a really, really unique area. We're going to be talking about financial education and, more importantly, financial wellness. Right? Season 3, we're going to be bringing you thought leaders from lots of different areas. We're going to be covering behavioral finance, financial psychology. We're going to be looking at the cultural aspects of financial planning. We're also going to be bringing on folks who specialize in tech that are building tools to help our kids get better educated when it comes to financial planning. So today's topic, what is financial wellness and how do we achieve it? And today we have 2 amazing guests. These 2 folks have created some amazing tools when it comes to financial education. And we are proud and we are extremely fortunate to have these 2 folks join us today. Our 2 guests today are Tina Hay, CEO and founder of Napkin Finance, and Jedidiah Collins, CEO and founder of Money Vehicle. So if we could have our 2 guests join us in the room. Jed, Tina, thank you both so much for joining us. Episode 1, season 3 of eMoney's That Makes Sense. Want to give you both a few minutes to share with our viewers and our listeners a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to jump into the show. Tina, you first.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it, Mac. It's great to be here. So a little bit about my background. I come from a liberal arts background, which is really interesting and part of the story behind Napkin Finance. I started in film and tech, then went into business school and found that I was sitting with consultants and former bankers and found it very challenging since I had no finance background. And I had always used images and graphics to make sense of images of different topics and to really simplify complex things for myself. And I started doing that in business school. And that was the inspiration for Napkin Finance. So I'm a visual learner, as many people are. Actually, 60% of people are visual learners. And so what we do is we simplify financial topics and make them more digestible and easy to understand and entertaining. And so what started with one napkin is now thousands of pieces of content that help people of all ages learn about money and make better, more empowered decisions throughout their lifetime. We also work with banks and financial institutions. We're in 80 million households throughout the globe in English and in Spanish, helping people understand different topics ranging from Money 101 to retirement, education, finance, taxes, and much more. We're also a mission-driven company, so we work with nonprofits, organizations, and schools to help them understand money and provide resources for people who never have an education or learn from their parents.
Wow, amazing. And Jed, before you go, I've got to just say this. Tina, when I first saw your content and your platform, I said, wow, I am so glad someone has taken the sort of the napkin theory, you know, how you just write stuff on a napkin and be able to share things. It is such a powerful medium. So thank you so much for creating this awesome tool. Jed, tell us a little bit about the Money Vehicle.
Well, next time I'm going to ask to go first because that's a tough intro to follow. But I agree with you, Mac. The napkin concept is amazing, and the visuals are outstanding. My journey began while playing and chasing my dream of being a professional athlete in the NFL. And I had a unique kind of experience traveling through the league. I got to play 7 seasons, which is amazing. But I got cut 12 times. And early in my career, getting cut, I quickly came to the understanding of how financially illiterate I was. You start getting these paychecks And you really start to look around and ask, what am I supposed to be doing with this? I see the dream and the opportunity before me, but I really don't know how to capture it. So I turned to my brothers, some of the smartest guys I know, getting their master's degree in engineering from Berkeley, a Harvard law student, and yet they didn't have answers either. My father ran a law firm for 30 years, was also, and to this day, kind of financially illiterate. It was just a conversation none of us learned in school, nobody was having in our household. And so I really was at a loss for answers. So I went and started to try to empower myself by studying the financial gurus we all know and love, and then earning this certification in financial planning. That CFP designation really gave me a holistic view of how money works. And as I left the game of football and went into wealth management for a few years, I started to implement that CFP and really still go out and have conversations with people more around how they're going to begin a financial journey. Wealth management deals a lot with landing the journey or the plane and the end of a financial experience. I was more interested in the beginning and the start. And so what we did with Money Vehicle, the book Your Money Vehicle was published. We have great testimonials around that. But as Tina just mentioned, most people are visual learners. Where we wanted to take the curriculum from Your Money Vehicle and create a virtual online course. And that's what we went ahead and did, looking at the national standards of how we can meet and exceed the standards going into high schools and colleges. We really wanted to build out a virtual course that asks and answers the first 10 questions of a financial journey. And not only that, to provide the 10 action items that you will need to take to begin that financial journey. So what our experience and what our expertise is in right now in Money Vehicle is really implementing a financial literacy certification course with groups of high school, college age students really across the country. And Tina definitely has a little more experience, and Napkin has been around for longer. But that is where we're trying to implement and start to grow. And why we aren't simply education, we are empowerment. As you see some of these slides, we ask every student that goes through to send us one of the action items they took from the course to really show that these thoughts, these concepts, and these actions will implement into your financial life.
That is awesome. Now, I've known Jed for a little bit, and I've known Tina as well for a little bit as well. And when I tell you folks out there that the passion that these two have behind what they have put out into the world is unparalleled. And so knowing what you are doing now, and I think I know the answer, but I'll ask it either way. The question really is, what is financial wellness and how do we achieve it? Tina, I'll pose that question to you as our lead off question. Again, what is financial wellness to you and how do we achieve it?
Yeah, so, financial wellness is different things to different people, but I think the consistent, element of financial wellness is peace of mind. I think your finances are tied to every aspect of your life, to your health, of course, to your, money decisions, but also your family, your mental well-being. And so when there is financial wellness, there's balance and stability in different aspects of your life, and it creates more opportunities and resources and really opens a lot of doors. And so financial wellness, again, it depends. It's relative to where people are in their lives, depending on if you're in school or, as Jed mentioned earlier, you can be very educated in different topics, but be very, not have any experience or knowledge about finance. And so what's interesting is financial wellness is just empowering people to have opportunities and make better decisions for themselves and their families.
I think it's a great perspective. Jed, what are your thoughts when it comes to financial wellness and what it is?
So I love to tie in kind of some of the concepts from the book and the course. I love to say financial wellness is an understanding that I am driving my money vehicle. And not only that I am driving it, but it is headed in the destination that I have chosen. And why we like to start with that is, no different. I get to talk to a lot of student athletes, but professional athletes as well. And I always tell them, are you going to use your game, or are you going to let the game use you? Football is a direct relation to, you can end this and have a lot of bumps and bruises, but unless you took the advantage and the opportunity and used the game, it was going to be all for naught. And so as you look at money, are you using it, or is it using you? I like to explain the money vehicle, kind of where we came up with the visual and the context of that, by saying money for so long has been a noun. It has been a focus and the subject of the sentence. And I think where a lot of people mistake their financial well-being is they focus so much on, I want these dollars, this thing of money. Where we want to change that perspective is introducing money as a vehicle, money as the verb of the sentence, realizing financial wellness comes from me using this object, me putting it to work for me. And so where I look at financial wellness is it really starts with a perspective of seeing money as a verb, seeing money as something I will use as my money vehicle, taking ownership of it, being in the driver's seat, and then setting goals and making sure my plan is not meant to achieve everything tomorrow, but as long as I know the direction that it is heading, that is when I can have that peace of mind Tina is talking about and truly feel that I am financially well.
Yeah, I love the perspective. I also like what the eMoney team has come up with as a statement for what is financial wellness. And I want to read this here. eMoney defines financial wellness as a positive state of being resulting from a healthy relationship with money and the impact it has on other aspects of life. I think that's a good way to sort of encapsulate the fact that, yes, financial wellness is such a broad topic. It affects people differently, as Tina mentioned, depending on where you are in your various stages of life. I also have a formula, and which is actually why we created the FinLitTech platform. The formula is financial literacy or education, right? Important, plus financial capability or tools equals financial wellness, because we know there's a ton of education out there and a ton of resources, but if folks don't have the requisite tools to be able to utilize and implement and get things done, it's really hard to reach any level of financial wellness. So that's always been my thought and my perspective, and that's what I love about what Jed, you and Tina have built, is that you all have built the tools, or are building the tools, so that folks can utilize that education, utilize the tools, come together, and then reach some level of financial wellness.
I think you bring up two really good points right there. Number one, the idea and in the e-money definition of how much it is going to impact. Again, money is not supposed to be the focus or the objective of our desires, but it does have a touch and a reach into every aspect of our lives. I get to tell high school and college students, it doesn't matter what career you choose or what you go and major in. Money is going to be a topic that you are going to have to understand and begin to build a plan around. And I also love that you call out this idea that we live in a content, in an information state. The information is out there, no different than trying to get healthy, looking at your physical health and saying, hey, do I know generally what is healthy and what is not healthy? Absolutely. Should I go ahead and choose a diet that removes or does all the, it is so personal and so customizable. But what I love to really bring in there is this idea that so many people focus on the wrong things when they look at even their physical health. They look at this idea that we want to just get to the end or get to the quick fix. There is no short-term solution. And really, when you start to realize it, it is not about your workout. It is more about your diet and what's going in your mouth. And so no different than in the wealth side, it is not just about your investments. It's about what's going out that door. And so seeing that balance of, yes, information out there, but where and how to take those steps, that's a really powerful analogy you brought up.
So, Tina, you are, running this amazing firm. You're providing this insight and guidance through a lot of various channels. Why now? Why is financial wellness in your mind such a big topic now?
Yeah, so I think, it's always an important topic. I think after COVID, people realized that, traditionally, there people had an emergency fund possibly or had some savings, but I think COVID was a wake-up call for a lot of people where, there can be a lot of instability in our lives, in our careers, and things that are out of our hands and out of our control, like a pandemic. And furthermore, many people's careers were, interrupted and people lost their jobs. So it was a wake up call for people to understand that they need to take control of their money and make better decisions and plan for the long term. I think COVID made people also realize, there is opportunity to grow your money if you start investing. But at the same time, the most important thing is to be educated about what decisions you can make, to have your life, move forward in a cycle of abundance instead of a vicious cycle where you take on more debt, and you can chase opportunity. So I think COVID was one reminder of that. I think the boom in all of these tech apps and opportunities to invest and take out the middleman have made it very, very efficient and seamless to invest and even learn more about money and how to grow your money. So I think these are major trends. The others are that people are looking for help, in with their money and how to plan for the long term or plan for things that they don't know, which we always see is many people don't understand what they should be investing and how much and how they can plan for their kids and their children's education and much more. And so all of these things have been really interesting recent trends that have led more and more people to be curious, but also take advantage of opportunities like the Robin Hoods and Mints and Acorns of the world that help them invest and start planning ahead for retirement or for other milestones like buying a house or a new car.
Yeah, I think technology definitely has a big impact in what we're seeing right now. Jed, I pose that question to you. Why now? Why is the financial wellness so important in this age that we're living in?
I think Tina touched on some great points in identifying that the pandemic widened the gap, the separation between the classes. It really exploited a lot of issues and brought to the forefront some of the conversations that we've kind of been pushing to the side. So finally, this event put it in front and said, this is something that we need to address. And so when you look at the need for it, it also provided an opportunity to say, we have now the capability, we now have a medium where virtual education and videos and content are out there to service and begin to help. So it not only exploited a problem, but it started to present a way to remedy the problem and solve it. I will say this moment in time is so essential for financial literacy, financial education, because if you talk to a 15 to 25-year-old today, they are faced with a variety of confusing concepts, confusing situations that we've never been introduced to before. You go from the Reddit craze to this guy, Elon Musk, being in the media every day, to our political system, and then you land in the cryptocurrency craze that everybody is talking about. And so when you start to identify the stock market as a part of your daily conversation in a high school format, you need to back in and say, well, where did they get their information? What are they actually doing? And are they looking, as we have in the past, as short-term mindset? Or have they really started to understand this long-term perspective? It's a quote often put out there, but it's an interesting statistic around Warren Buffett, this guru of our time, having 99% of his wealth created after the age of 50. And yet every 18-year-old in the country thinks they're going to be the next Warren Buffett on Robinhood. And it is such a time where financial literacy and education can help you block out the noise. I have neighbors, they text me all the time around this new hot topic thing that they're about to go make millions in. And at the same time, I get to tell them my investment strategy for everyone who is a starting investor: be average, index. Be average, take the average return of the market, use an index. And that simple notion, if you understand what those three words mean together, then you are financially literate, you are empowered. But that is why it is so needed at this moment, is the noise and the shiny objects are coming at a speed that we've never seen before, and they're hitting that target demo of young professionals.
You know, I am so glad that we have this format. We have this ability for folks of like mind to sit down and discuss and talk, because we can look back on this video that we're making, folks, in this podcast, and look at all these amazing trends. Because if you were to go back in time, you're right, Jed, I too believe that we are at a time where it's almost an information overload, right? There's always been things going on in history to detract you from focusing on what you should be doing for your personal finances, but I think it's that much louder now. I think it's that much more readily available in our hands. And so, the next question I was going to ask you both was, how do we achieve financial wellness, and what do we get there? And the first thing that pops into mind is technology, but that's a double-edged sword.
Oh yeah.
It's a double-edged sword. So Tina, don't want to give you an answer, but how do you think we achieve more financial wellness? And what do you think give me pros and cons of the tools that are out there that can help us?
Yeah, well, of course, I'm biased. I think Napkin Finance is a great resource, and it's free, and we have free courses as well. We also have a book called Napkin Finance: Build Your Wealth in 30 Seconds or Less that is also available from HarperCollins, that is actually a really great overview that does everything from, covers everything from Money 101 to taxes, cryptocurrency, economics, and, retirement, college savings, and a lot more. But I think, honestly, it doesn't really matter where you get your information from, and it's really what resonates with people. I think visual kind of content and videos and assets are really appealing right now, which is why TikTok has been very popular. What I would say is people should do their research, but be very careful who you're getting your information from. So I think it really doesn't matter where it comes from, whether it's Googling different topics or going to a specific site that's more educational. I think the key is just to know that you need to do your research, you need to make your own decisions, and then also be very careful for companies that are packaging education as a sales and marketing pitch. So I think a lot of companies are, have some great content, but it's really more a call to action to sign up for a credit card or other investment product, and you may not know what you're getting into or what kind of fees you're paying. So what I would say is, really, there's no one perfect way to get financial wellness. I think the one thing that I would say to most people, especially women, is to talk about it with your friends and family. I think it's more, common for men to discuss finance or financial topics or investing with other guys or their fathers, but I think women, it's much more of a taboo topic. I think people need to discuss it more, and it opens up new opportunities and ways for people to invest their money. And so, again, I think education is critical. Ideally, you can get it when you're young from your family or in school, but if not, it's never too late. We have a lot of older people on our platform who are managing their money for the first time through divorce or becoming a widow. And so it's never too late. And I think it's really important just to, connect with things that resonate with you. If it's TikTok, if it's Instagram, if it's Napkin Finance, if it's Investopedia, Money Vehicle, wherever it is that you connect with, I think that's really important.
I'm so happy that you mentioned that aspect, especially for women. I can't tell you how many times I've been in this financial service industry for 20 plus years. I can't tell you how many times I've sat down with couples, and a lot of the conversation is driven to the male. And I intentionally, throughout my years of practice, made it a point to get both people in the conversation, because I'm married, father of three, right? Mama bear statistically is going to outlive Papa bear. This is what it is. And if I pass away and she doesn't have the knowledge and the experience, those types of things, it's going to negatively impact our family. So I'm glad you mentioned that point, Tina, because I think as an industry we need to do a better job of including everyone and having more conversation in the household, not just between the husband and wife, but also within the family members within it. Jed, how about you? What are your thoughts on the tools and what we can use, what we can do to achieve more financial literacy and more financial wellness, I should say?
Just a quick side note thought there on the husband and wife relationship. I think one of the big issues going forward with cryptocurrency is going to be that idea that Mac has this personalized code and knows exactly what he's doing, and his spouse has no idea how to go and get these dollars and these funds. So in the near future, that is going to be a situation that happens every day. That is one of the big concerns in that front for me. I love the idea that Tina mentioned is like the information is out there. So I think how we achieve financial wellness, it is very difficult to reach financial freedom without being financially healthy, financially well. And that begins with financial education, financial literacy. Tina has mentioned it, Mac, you've mentioned it. Our mission is to get this into schools. But the most important thing, how we're going to achieve financial wellness, is what has happened over the last year. The conversation has started. TikTok, good. It is amazing that is what is driving this need and this front row seat to a young generation craving this information, seeing the statistics, much like, professional athlete or a musician seeing their past, people. The examples are out there of the failure. So the conversation has started. I think to achieve wellness, we have to change the conversation. No longer can your financial literacy curriculum include how to budget. I think budget is a word that we need to remove because it has a negative connotation with this younger generation. Simply syntax of changing it to cash management. I think retirement needs to be retired. Starting to change those words. Let young people today drive and own this conversation in their own vernacular is really going to put the ownership on them. And so as you start to see technology, it is essential that we start to adapt technology into our financial lives because, again, going back to the health and wealth, health is all about habits. It's about building up correct habits. Wealth is the same thing, and technology allows you through simple tricks like automation was a game changer. Looking at index funds is a game changer. That is all being supplied. Taxes are now exponentially easier, still way too complex and hard, but still a lot easier because of technology. So we see technology as that double-edged sword. I can jump on a social media platform. I can jump on the website and get terrible information. That's part of it. But I can also find the true constructive resources. I love Tina's call out about where you're getting your information and what is their true intention. I am no longer an advisor. And as I go out and I talk to groups of professionals, everybody's always saying, well, do you want my money? No. I think it is better to have church and state separated. I think education needs to now be an industry on its own, where it has traditionally been a lost leader for people to sell products. Wellness begins with understanding. It goes to changing the conversation, and it lands with that ownership of how am I going to do this in my mind? How am I going to do this in technology? And most importantly, where do I want my plan to lead me?
I love it. I love it. The last point that I would like to bring up now, as we know, eMoney is the leader when it comes to financial technology and helping advisors, right?
Great segue right there.
The mantra is to help more people talk about money, all right? So a lot of our audience are financial advisors, yes? How, Tina, I'll ask you to answer first. How do you think advisors, how do we get advisors, financial advisors in the mindset to provide planning and advice from a financial wellness perspective? And how can they help their clients evaluate and achieve?
Yeah, I think so. We work with a lot of financial advisors. We actually provide tools for a lot of advisors to educate clients, not just next gen, but their own clients. One of the biggest comments we get is, consistently that advisors say the first thing they do when they meet with a new client is show them our ETF napkin. And so what I think is really important with financial advice is two things. Number one, many people, I think, especially millennials and Gen Z, are very cynical about kind of who is helping them and how much they're paying them and what value they're getting. And so I think education is a differentiator and adds a lot more value than just traditional, portfolio management and just traditional financial advisory services. I think education on top of that is really key to add, to empower people, not just, help them, manage their money. And I think, the way that education is presented, whether it's, if it's to empower people and help them make better decisions, ultimately it'll just strengthen the relationship and trust, which I think is really key for anyone who's working with, with a client or a new client. And so what we're finding is, one of the challenges for advisors is to really, number one, differentiate themselves. Number two, build trust and engagement, and continue to help people with different life stages and milestones as they come up, and at the same time involve them and have them become a partner in their financial wellness, so it's not a one-way street.
I love it. I love the partnership I think is key. That's the thing that stuck out in my mind. Jed, what about you? How do you look at advisors? You're a CFP. I have to believe that some portion of your time when you were advising clients, financial wellness was something you talked about. May not have been under that necessarily that moniker or that umbrella, but how do you think advisors now can help their clients when it comes to that side?
I think advisors and professors have a very similar hurdle and problem ahead of them. It begins with humbling yourself. Just like you said, I'm a CFP. I wear that proudly. But immediately in a conversation, that tilts the conversation into, I am the educated, I'm going to speak down to you and boast on you, my intellect. I think advisors need to humble themselves and begin to meet clients where they are. Begin to say, I am not here to impress you with all of the knowledge I have. My objective is to serve you. My objective is to make sure you leave this meeting with that understanding. For so long, as especially young advisors, you really see that need to establish their acumen, their position in this space. And it says, no, if you are in this industry, you know more than 95% of people about money.
Yep.
Accept that, be confident in that, and realize your objective is to not prove that every meeting you have. I love, Tina has used, Money Vehicle uses the idea of stories. This is where Money Vehicle tries to separate itself, is the analogies and the stories and the connection to what is common ground. I have a special needs sister, and that's where I started this practice of what can I get to make as a medium so that sis and I have a common ground of conversation. That is the example I use as we start to talk to people about money, is what is their interest? If I'm an advisor, what is this person? Are they a football fan? If they're a football fan, I could go all day long. But are they foodie? Do they like cooking? Well, then how can I use cooking as an analogy to build out this investment profile? Maybe they're a cyclist. Maybe they're a guitarist. Maybe they're whatever their passion is. Look at them and then build the analogy. They don't all have to be great. They can be silly. And so often advisors say, Jed, I like that story, but it's a little too, corny for me. Corny is good. If you can make somebody smile while you're teaching them about money, they're going to want to learn more. So I think the story entertainment atmosphere where we get into edutainment, I think that is the secret of the advisor of the future. Humble yourself, meet them where they are, tell them a story, and let them walk away confident in what you know, but more importantly, what they know.
All I have to say to both of you is amen. I think you're right. So many times, advisors want to flex a muscle, and in doing so, right, lose sight of the fact of what we're here to do, which is to serve. And I too Jed and Tina believe that all we are is a collection of stories, and our job as advisors is to share the stories with people that we come in contact with on a regular basis that can help them along their financial life journey. And that can be in so many different ways. So thank you both for those very, very powerful answers. And I think you've hit the nail on the head when it comes to focusing on the individual and what helps them and gets them on their journey. All right, we've got some closing questions, something new that we're trying out for season 3. I'm going to ask 3 questions. They're going to be quick, they're going to be fast, and you're going to give me the best answer that can come at the moment. Tina, we're going to start with you. You ready?
Ready.
Question 1. What's the one thing you wish you knew about money sooner?
I wish I knew that you should be starting to invest as soon as you can. So I wish I'd invested earlier in my life.
Awesome. What's one hope you have for the financial services / FinTech industry?
I hope that there's more transparency and that, regulations don't get in the way of people being able to have better partners and save money when investing and taking advantage of other financial products.
Awesome. Last question, fill in the blank. Financial wellness is?
Power.
Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot. Awesome. Jed, you're up, sir. Question 1. What's the one thing you wish you knew about money sooner?
I wish I knew your money number is going to move and that you need to accept that this is not something you stress about, but you set a target, you aim for it, but then you got to enjoy the ride. That number is going to come and you're going to pass it and you're going to feel a sense of not even fulfillment. And so just accepting that number is going to continually be a goalpost that can move, it takes a lot of pressure off. And I think a lot more young people need to take that pressure off of them.
Awesome. What's one hope you have for the financial services / FinTech industry?
I mean, it's the mission of Money Vehicle. I hope we can get financial literacy in high schools and colleges across America. I think we need to have established courses and curriculum that everybody could be able to go through and establish themselves. But then also on the back end of that, we need technology to create habits. We need to really lean into this idea that money is not a one-time event. It is an everyday, how do I build my routines? And so if we can combine with financial literacy in schools and then technology as I become a professional, we can really achieve wellness.
Last question. Financial wellness is?
Knowing I am driving my money vehicle and I have chosen the destination.
Awesome. Folks, I would like to formally and with deep gratitude thank Tina Hay, CEO, founder of Napkin Finance, and Jedidiah Collins, CEO and founder of Money Vehicle, for joining us today. We have a lot more great thought leaders coming your way for season 3. This is going to be a fun journey, folks. Thank you all. The journey continues.